Hi, everybody. Some time ago, I was asked to discuss Meta AI, and it's been a while, and it also took some time for Meta AI to work out a few of their kinks in order for me to be able to give a valid opinion on this. There are some settings here. Voice selection, you can choose which voice you have that speaks to you. I have a low to medium female voice. You can choose all kinds of different ones, though. Okay, so there is a wake word that you can have right here. And I don't have that on because I don't want the headset continuously listening for me to give it a voice command. I would rather use my controller and do the double tap like we always did with voice commands and do it that way. So to me, it would save on the battery and Meta would not always be listening. Controller shortcut, I have that. I just used it actually. I tapped my two controllers together so that I could go to hands movements and silence voice conversation. So if I were to use Meta AI, other people in calls and apps won't hear your conversation with the Meta AI, and that I want to leave on. Anything that I ask Meta, I just, that doesn't need to be in my recordings. That doesn't need to be, they don't need to hear the responses. Camera use, I left this on and I will come back to it. But camera use is actually does have something helpful for me. Activity log is basically keeping track of what you've asked Meta. So it's like a chat history. If you're familiar with ChatGPT, the chat history that you have, that's what that is. There's no option to turn that off. Voice storage, there is an option to turn that off. And I have store recordings. I do not have that enabled. I disabled it. Now Meta AI cannot see your, I did find this out, Meta AI cannot view your virtual environment. So I asked it, what do I see? And it could not tell me that I saw a virtual mirror in my virtual space. It cannot see inside your virtual space. If you were to go to pass through, you can ask it, what does it see, or what do I see is the command, and it could tell me that I had furnishings, I had electronics, I had furniture, and other various items. It was not specific. It was very general. But I think if I were to walk into a bathroom and say, what do I see, it would be able to tell me, you're in the bathroom. I see a toilet, I see a sink, kind of deal. That could be helpful. If I didn't have any vision left, I could use that actually. If I were visiting somewhere, I could go down the hall and say, am I at the ladies' room or the men's room? Because you'd want to walk into the correct one, right? And rather than have to feel the sign, and it would be helpful if the AI could tell me you're standing in front of a door and it says broom closet. So, or men's room or ladies' room or what have you. It could tell me where I'm at. But it would also need to look at your entire environment. So it would probably take a good amount of time for it to register where it is. So the more confined view you give it as to what you're looking at, like in my room, I knew I was looking at my desk chair, my desk, my television, and there were a bunch of things scattered on the desk. You know, my laptop was there as well, and lots of little knickknacks and things. So it didn't take the time to individually describe each of those things. So I understand the broad and general. I could probably ask it specifically, well, what's on my desk? And it would probably give me a breakdown. But it wasn't an automatic, instant response. It took time for it to take in what the image was that it saw and then go to its database and figure it all out. So it's not super quick, and that is probably something that will improve over the years, to be honest. But I was able to pick up a piece of mail and held it up so that it only saw the piece of mail, so it didn't get confused by everything else that it saw. It It didn't have to register all that stuff, so the response was faster. I see that you're holding an envelope, because I had it folded in such a way it looked like it was an envelope. So I understand why it thought it was an envelope. And it read the first line of it. And then I asked if it could give me more information about what was written on the envelope. And it went on to read the whole thing. That was actually very helpful. That means that I could get a newspaper and I could read a newspaper. The issue being, would it know each individual article? Or would I have to make sure that it was blocked off in such a way? Now, there are already tools that can help with this. There are magnifiers that you can get. Mine's called a Ruby, but it has a high magnification, more than just the kind with reading glasses and that kind of thing that you find at the drugstore. I mean, these are high magnification for people that are visually impaired, legally blind, in the sense of the word, not just your more known loss of some vision where you might need 2.5 or 2.75x to readers that you get at the department store. That's not these. These are much more specialized and more expensive. But if you already have a headset and you don't have a Ruby, and the headset will read it to you, whereas the Ruby, you're still reading it yourself. So you could use your phone as well to do these things with the talkback features and that kind of stuff. And let's remember that Android is the basis of your headset. So whatever your Android headset can do, your newer Android phone can probably do as well. So bear that in mind. As progress comes, and these headsets maybe can be taken outside, you still have your cane, or you still have your guide dog, or your sighted guide, you might be able to navigate streets. You can say, hey, whatever the device is, can you tell me what cross streets I'm at on the street sign? Or can you tell me if the light is red or green? Now, given that there is a delay in the response time, I don't know that I would trust that. So still listen for your hawk signals, which is, if you've ever been at a stoplight that chirps at you or has like a beep, 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 it gives you signals when you can walk and when you need to stay at the curb. So that's called a hawk light, and they're very helpful for people with vision impairment, as long as you don't hear cars still moving, which with the advent of electric vehicles gets more and more difficult to hear cars because they've gotten so much quieter. Anyway, I've tangented off a little bit. AI. Meta AI. I can see me using the headset to read mail rather than have to go to the bathroom, which is where I have the most light available to me, the brightest light, to try to read my mail using my phone and the magnifier. I could just ask the headset while sitting in my chair to read my letter to me and put in my earphones, and there we go. I could actually read my mail. Or I could go to the pantry and hold up a box of cereal and make sure that I've got the right one, or have it read an ingredient list or nutritional label or any of that stuff. The fact that you're hands-free and that you don't have to rely on holding your phone and also the item, that's actually a big plus. So I can see it being useful for that. And I haven't heard anybody else mention that. When the AI program first launched, I didn't make a video on it right away when I was asked, because I didn't see anything valuable with the AI system. But they've since made improvements. Or if you have had trouble getting your AI set up and you have developer mode and you've disabled your boundary, that's how you fix it. And you double tapped the Oculus button on the right controller, the one you used to be able to use to get your voice command going. That's also what now tells Meta AI to listen for the command. So that's fixed. It wasn't there initially.